Hello everybody, Mark Schaftlein with you, and this is the Schaftlein Report, Thursday's edition, broadcasting from chilly Irvine, California today. Happy to have you with us. Jeffrey Dunetz, welcome back to Schaftlein Report. Happy to have you with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Every time you come on the show, we just get barraged with news, and it's just crazy. We barely have time to fit it all into the show, just like we do today.
Well, there's a reason. Yeah. I'm originally from Brooklyn. I got friends, you know, do.
Hey, listen, let's start it off. Boy, I got to tell you something. This administration, I don't think I've ever, even in the Jimmy Carter years, seen an administration collapse so quickly. Quinnipiac came out with a poll today, just before we came on the air. Biden's approval rating is now down to 36%. Jeffrey, that's way worse than Trump ever was.
Oh, sure. You know, when you hit people on their kitchen table, that's when they start to get upset. Gas prices going up, food prices going up, shelves empty, and they haven't even hit the winter when things are going to really go up for energy costs.
Right.
You're hitting them at home.
Yeah,
and people don't like that.
You're hitting them in the pocketbook, in the gas tank. The cost of shelter has gone up anywhere from 9 to 16%, way above where the Bureau of Labor Statistics says it is, because their data is old. Private companies like CoreLogic, Zillow, Trulia, et cetera, who are in the real estate valuation market, they've seen these costs go up 9 to 16%. So your rent's going up, gasoline prices are through the roof, food prices, if you can even find beef on the shelves, that's gone through the roof. And what do these idiots in the Democratic Party keep doing? They're talking about climate change and a Build Back Better bill. I mean, these people are certified lunatics. Jeffrey, let's go inside these numbers a little bit. He's 36% approval. 53% of Americans say they do not. That is a 17-point gap. I haven't seen a president with a 17-point gap. I mean, is this the lowest you've ever seen these numbers on any president in our lifetime?
Well, I don't remember the numbers from the mid-'70s, but I do have a suggestion. When he enters a room, instead of doing Hail to the Chief, I should think that they should do the theme song to Welcome Back Kotter, but call it Welcome Back Carter.
Yeah, the similarities are eerie. The only difference is Jimmy Carter was a pretty smart guy. He was a nuclear scientist. Listen, Biden, he's got some big problems in here. You know, inside these poll numbers, Jeffrey, 50% of the people not only are disappointed in Biden, they're very disappointed in his job performance. That's the highest number I've ever seen recorded. And here's a killer for him. 52 to 41%. He's upside down 11 points. Do not believe he's honest. I mean, look, there's questions on his competency, but now he's got a majority of Americans who don't even think he's an honest guy.
And that's what they said about Trump. And it turns out he's the one that's lying. I'd love to see the Washington Post count his lies the way they counted what they thought were Trump's lies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100%. I mean, the media and the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, you know, the mainstream media and cable, they tried driving Trump's numbers down. You know, they got down a couple times at 40, one time at 39, but they never could push beyond that point. They tried, did their best, but ultimately, you know, again, we got Biden's president now, so they had some success doing it. But Jeffrey, these numbers are devastating. I mean, even in the real clear politics average, I mean, I think his average is hovering between 40 and 41. But every time these new polls come out, Susquehanna had him at 38% a week ago. Quinnipiac now at 36. I mean, Jeffrey, if I'm advising the White House, of which I'm not, but if I was, you know, you've got to tell them to focus on the economy. As James Carville said back in the Clinton years, it's the economy, stupid. Never a more prophetic statement. But these clowns, what are they doing? They're trying to pass climate bills. They're trying to put immigration bills inside reconciliation projects. I mean, they're
even doing the climate bills wrong, because in that reconciliation bill, they're giving a grant for people who buy electric cars,
right?
But only from companies that are union shops.
Right. Again, everything that could possibly be bad in this bill is in it. All kind of social giveaway programs. Jeffrey, it's even so bad. They're trying to give wealthy people a tax break on reinstituting the SALT deductions, that's state and local taxes. It predominantly hurts people in the Northeast, of course, where you're residing. But what effectively it does, it gives literally the old Bernie Sanders theme, millionaires and billionaires tax breaks. And it really does. They're wanting to push.
Middle class are paying more.
And middle class are paying more. They want to basically give people right now, folks, right now, the most you can deduct state and local taxes anywhere in the country is $10,000. Okay. In this bill, they want to raise it to $80,000. That's a $70,000 tax break. And Jeffrey, that only affects the top 10% of earners in this country. And really, it's really the top 4 or 5% that it falls in. So here you have the Democratic Party, which is no longer a party of working class people. That horse has left the barn a long time ago. Those are Trump voters now. And now they're trying to give tax breaks to wealthy Americans. Even Bernie Sanders, you and I virtually disagree on everything with him, came out and said, no, this is not right. And yet it's being pushed by Bob Menendez, New Jersey, Chuck Schumer, New York, a handful of others.
Yeah, but Schumer's an idiot, so you can't blame him.
Right. Menendez isn't a whole lot better. But anyhow, this is really devastating numbers. And I don't know. I mean, they've got to do something, because if they think that they're going to pass, think about this. The House is going to try to pass this monstrosity of a bill maybe as early as tonight. They're waiting for the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, to score it. Why would they?
Says they're not going to wait for it, though.
Oh no! They don't have the moderate votes until they get the score. They don't have that. But they're going to try to jam it through the House. They know again, Jeffrey. How many times have you and I talked? One of the reasons that Biden's approval ratings are so low is they've been lying to their base for the last 4 or 5 months, just outright lying to them. And now let's call them what they are: the low information, brain dead voters that make up half the Democratic Party. They're going to hear, oh, well, hell, the House passed this bill. It must be law. Now, the Democrats know it's not going to be law.
But here's the thing. Even the low information voters, are they going to believe that if you spend trillions more money, the deficit's going to go down?
No, even they won't believe that. Probably. Well, here's the other thing.
That's what they're trying to shove into our faces.
Absolutely, they're trying to do it, which is why it makes no sense. We'll get into the vice president a little bit later, but while you brought the subject up, this lady, she's another one. She's a low information voter. I mean, she comes out and says if we pass Build Back Better, it's going to lower inflation. According to whom? I mean, if you spend more money, which this bill does, over a period of 8 to 10 years, now what they're actually trying to do now, Jeffrey, to make the numbers look better, shorten some of the time periods, take out the advanced years, and make the bill, fit into a box. It's an accounting gimmick, folks. It doesn't work.
Well, if somebody knows a program that was instituted that was actually canceled eventually, please let me know.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. So anyhow, I think they're really, whatever cliche you want to use, they're going the wrong way. I don't think Manchin is going to support a big chunk that's in this bill. He sees these Biden approval numbers at 36, 38%. Sinema's got to see it too. If Manchin and Sinema hold true to where they are, maybe this bill won't pass. But the direction that they're going right now, I mean, this is, what's the old saying, Jeffrey? When you're in a ditch, quit digging?
Yep.
Okay. The Democrats are in a ditch. Biden is literally in a ditch, falling, and they keep digging.
The bill destroys the coal industry. Manchin can't go for that.
No, he's not going to.
His neighbors will come and kill him.
No, he's not going to go for that. I don't see that happening. I see major changes in it. I mean, could they end up passing something? You never put it past them. They could, but boy, this is sort of like, the last breath of a dying person. They know that they're going to get crushed in the midterms. They know that their only chances to get this is their once in a lifetime opportunity to get something through. I just hope the senators who are, reasonable, like Manchin, Sinema, stand up to this garbage, because it's really bad. All right, let me move on to a couple things because this, the polling piece hit us right before the show. All right, remember how we talked, Jeffrey, about early on, the Democrats had a real desire to upend the Supreme Court and basically pack the court. Biden sort of threw a cold shoulder on that, saying, no, I'm really not in favor of this. And to his credit, he did what's called the ultimate Washington inside game. He set up a commission to study it. Well,
yeah, but he gave them the wrong instructions, because when he gave them the instructions, he said the Supremes haven't been good since Diana Ross left.
Well, that would be a typical Bidenism. In actuality, though, he sets this commission up, okay, and the commission basically did their job. They came back and said, we don't really think there should be material changes to the Supreme Court. We think maybe we should consider some type of term limits. Okay, depending upon how long it might be, 12 years, 18, 20, whatever, that might be something the American people could consider. But that was it. That was all they recommended. Now, oh boy, that was not good enough for the hardcore leftist liberals, and I'm going to name them out here. Sheldon Whitehouse, that genius from Rhode Island.
No, he's not a Rhode Island, but you know what? He also thinks that anybody who has doubts about global warming should be thrown in jail.
Yeah, he's made those statements. He's a certified one. Then you have Dick Blumenthal, right down the road in Connecticut. It's too bad. It's too bad we got Connecticut and Rhode Island. They ought to be one state. That way, they'd only have 2 liberals in there instead of 4.
But with Blumenthal, you gotta be easy on him. The guy has all that PTSD from when he served in Vietnam combat.
Right.
Oh wait,
oh,
that was a lie, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, it was a lie. He didn't actually do that. And then you had the esteemed Maisie Hirono. She is an absolute, just one of the worst senators. I mean, in my entire lifetime, she's among the worst. These 3 said, well, wait a minute, we're not getting what we want. We think that the court is too far right-leaning. Well, that's tough. It's too bad what you think. The president set up his commission, and there's not going to be any changes in the Supreme Court. Jeffrey, this is another thing, where they lied to their base. They said, well, we're going to disrupt the Supreme Court. No, that didn't happen. Well, we're going to change the voting rights. No, that didn't happen either. D.C. statehood. No, that's not happening either. Well, we're going to spend all kind of money. No, that really hasn't happened either. We're going to give you child care credit. We're going to extend it. Maybe, maybe not. My point is, everything, they go out and tell their base this stuff. It isn't happening. And there was no shot at a lot of this stuff happening. And so these Democrats are sitting there going, well, we're not getting what they told us. And what the real reality of it is? The Democrats lied to their base, tell them they're going to get all kind of goodies and freebies. In other words, stuff in their pockets, paying them off for the votes. That money hadn't gone into their pockets.
Well, I mean, it's all designed to keep them in power. Excuse me. But if I had the opportunity, I would have them debating something else that would free up the country on other things. I would say, okay, who likes Chicago pizza? Who likes New York pizza? You guys discuss. It'll be 10 years before they're done.
Right, exactly.
And the world can go on normally.
It seems like, again, every single policy that they're doing is wrong. Everything. Senator Kennedy he's funny. A guy made a comment yesterday. He goes, most people mess things up once or twice. They keep making this. They've made the same mistake 5, 6, 7 times. They don't seem to get it. And you know why, Jeffrey? That's how leftists think. They think they're smartest people in the room. They know what's good for you. And it just never pans out that way. Classic example. Here Biden is going now begging OPEC, and OPEC basically said go pound sand to put more production out there. He allegedly asked the Chinese to produce more oil. Chinese import oil. They're not big producers of oil. They're an importer of oil. All he had to do was call the governors of Texas, North Dakota, a handful of other states and say, guys, hey, let's, pump it up a little bit. But no. At the same time he's begging our adversaries for more oil, a federal judge has come out and put a moratorium on Biden's executive order basically prohibiting drilling on federal lands. He prohibited drilling off the coast of Louisiana. He shut down pipelines, no drilling on federal lands. ANWR. And
what also is happening is the oil companies see this, and you know what? They don't want to invest in it because they think this guy's going to kill their industry.
Right.
So that's making even less.
Right. So here you have a classic economic case right now. Demand for oil is increasing as the economies around the world reopen. So you have greater demand, and yet supply's been constrained. The United States is producing, I think it's 2 million barrels a day less now than when President Trump left office.
Well, everybody was celebrating a year or so ago when we became an exporter.
We were.
For the first time in decades,
right.
We weren't relying on foreign oil.
Right.
And he screwed that the first week he was in office.
Well, that's basically a layup for his environmental wackos that support him. You know that as well as I do.
And he's not going to get anything from China because, he was pissed off that he didn't get the chocolate cake he got when he met Trump.
Exactly. Steve Ratner, who advises Mike Bloomberg, manages his money. He told the Democratic Party, you keep passing these bills, you're going to have inflation. And with these energy policies, Federal Reserve, pumping up the economy, passing a $1.9 trillion bill earlier in the year, you're going to have inflation. Ratner predicted it, and boy, it is coming home to roost. But this is a classic example. Biden's, all he has to do is look in the mirror and say, hey, Joe, maybe we better loosen up these restrictions on domestic oil production. Hey, maybe we better not shut down these pipelines. But no, he's so far beholden to the radical left, he's not going to do it. And
I think that's part of it. I think he also doesn't like to be able to be wrong.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, he will not admit he was wrong about anything. And, according to Bob Gates, former Secretary of Defense, he's been wrong about everything on foreign policy. So, this is no surprise. Look, he's got to do some things differently. We keep saying that, but he's not. So, again, we're going to have high energy prices for a while. Jeffrey, I think in the winter, you live in the Northeast.
It's going to go way up.
It is going to go way up. And then that 36% approval rate, it could go down further. All right, let me shift a couple things here. Some good news. Ron DeSantis, again, this guy's a superstar.
I love that guy.
Everybody loves Ron DeSantis. The state of Florida is now very close to crippling that vaccine mandate as passed by the federal government. And I think, it's going to be signed into law, basically setting up a clash with the Biden administration. And DeSantis is basically saying you can go pound sand. There will be no vaccine mandates in the state of Florida.
He actually signed them into law like 15 minutes before the show started.
Oh, he did? Okay.
I saw the ceremony. But they didn't do the one I liked the most. The one I liked the most is he wanted to set it up that Florida paid for any penalty a local corporation would get, but he'd pay for it with federal dollars.
He gets federal dollars into the state.
Is that the biggest, up yours that you, it was great.
Well, we'll see how it plays itself out, but DeSantis is a rock star. The state of Florida, they're doing things right down there. It's not an issue of whether we've said it before. We're not anti-vax on this show, but we do believe people should have a right to choose whether they get, the Democrats always come out, well, a woman has a right to choose. Of course, we're for choice. But on mandates, no. You gotta have, it's inconsistency. That's typical Democrat. All right.
And you know that he's doing well because the Democrats are attacking him more than anyone else.
Yeah, well, they were, but now it looks like the Democratic senatorial campaign, they're not going to put a lot of money opposing DeSantis because they know they can't beat him. All right, let's talk for a minute about our esteemed Vice President Harris. Oh boy, folks. Oh my God. She is sitting here with a 28, you heard it right, 28% approval rating. And what does she do? She makes an absolute fool of herself. She comes out on some network interview, I can't remember what station, ABC, I think. And basically, Stephanopoulos or whoever was doing the interview, ask about the border, which she is the one responsible for, according to the president. Well, what does she do? Oh, it's the time-honored. She blamed Trump. Yes, she blamed Trump for the border dysfunction. Now, let me see, Jeffrey. When Trump left office, we did not have 200,000 people coming across. We didn't have migrant camps set up. We had a remain in Mexico policy. We were building a wall. That border, it was fairly well secure, and it was not even in the top 10 of issues that Americans cared about. Now, with the esteemed Vice President Kamala Harris, who got zero votes in the Democratic primary, now she's blaming Trump. I mean, it's comical.
You know, and she still hasn't been to the border. People say she went to the border. She went to El Paso, which is a border city.
Right.
But she didn't even go to the border part of El Paso.
Right. Yeah, she could have done that. No, she didn't. This woman's a fool. And in addition to that, just the hypocrisy, just the propaganda lie. You know, propaganda, as I think Tucker Carlson defined it, when you see something you know it's wrong and they lie to you and say, oh no, the problem's Trump. Trump been out of office. This problem happened under Biden. The open border policy, they've got that communist Mayorkas at DHS running things. He gets up and lies to the Senate committees this week.
Oh, but Ted Cruz really ripped him a new one.
Lambasted him.
It was
tell our audience about Cruz. Give him feedback on that.
Well, he started asking questions like, how many people have you let into the United States who had COVID? I don't know. So how many people have you let into the United States you shipped around the country? I don't know. So you don't know any of these things. And give him a whole questions that we would ask.
Right.
And every one of them he didn't know.
Yeah.
And the sick part about it that no one reported is they were basically the same questions that the House asked him 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And he still doesn't know. Yeah. But you know, Cruz, when he questions somebody, is really cutting.
Well, thing about Cruz, he's a very experienced lawyer. You know, he was a Solicitor General, argued cases in front of the Supreme Court. And you know the saying about a good lawyer, he knows the answer to the questions before he asks the questions. And Cruz did. And he wasn't the only one. Jim Lankford of Oklahoma lambasted Mayorkas. I mean, this guy is a certified communist and he's running a department. I mean, it's just really disgusting. Back to the vice president. After she made those ridiculous statements about the border, then she was asked about the Build Back Better and about the inflation that Americans are suffering under right now. And you know what this rocket scientist says? Well, if we pass Build Back Better, inflation will go down. Why, we had Nobel laureate economists telling us pass Build Back Better and inflation will go down. Oh, come on already. You know, the Federal Reserve said inflation was transitory. There's nothing transitory about this. Even Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary in a Democratic administration, has been sounding the warning signs. Powell got this.
One of the first.
Yeah, I mean, the Fed got it wrong. It's not transitory. It's here. Janet Yellen even said inflation is going to be with us until at least the middle of 2022, maybe longer. Well, guess what? If it's here through the third quarter of 2022, you're going to see 50 to 70 loss of seats in the House of Representatives. People aren't going to keep tolerating this crap.
And to stop it, they're going to have to cause a recession.
Yeah, that's pretty much that's the medicine when you have runaway inflation like we have right now. But Harris,
but Mark, better than any of that other stuff. When she was in France, she did a lousy Inspector Clouseau imitation.
Oh, I know. I don't know what it is about her, whether it's the cackle, the laugh. And then, of course, what does that esteemed Press Secretary Jan Psaki say? Why, it's racist and misogynist. Give me a break.
In the last couple of years, I learned I'm racist, I'm Islamophobic.
Right.
I'm a misogynist.
Right.
A couple of years ago, Media Matters said I was an anti-Semite.
That's a, that's yeah, that's like calling Winston, the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, a white supremacist, and she's black. I mean, these people, I'm telling you something, folks. That's why Biden's at 36%. We joke about it a little bit, but to actually have the vice president come out and blame the border situation on Trump, and then say inflation's going to go down if we pass the monstrosity of social spending, Build Back Better. I mean, people are laughing at her. And you know what's interesting? The stories this week, the Democrats, they recognize how incompetent she is. It's not going to shock me if they try to get rid of her before, if they get blown out in the midterms, maybe they'll replace her. Who knows? Because right now we've got basically, situation with Biden. He can't even do press releases. It's crazy. They've got this tradition. They call it the Three Amigos. You got the head of President of Canada, President of Mexico, Trudeau in Canada, Labrador, whatever his name is in Mexico. There's traditionally a press release. They all stand up together, they answer questions. Biden can't do it today.
Yep.
And I'm saying, why? Well, his handlers put him back in the box and said, no, there's not going to be any Joe today. Basically what they did in the campaign, keeping him in the basement. I mean, it's come to this. I mean, he doesn't do press gaggles like Trump used to. Boy, don't you yearn for the days when Trump would stand out there in front of a helicopter? You couldn't hear him that much, but the helicopter was flying, but he would gaggle with reporters for like 30, 40, 50 minutes.
Answer all their questions.
Everything, and just take them. But Biden, he can't do it.
But the interesting thing is Biden's doing what Obama did, because Obama every 5 minutes blamed Bush for every problem.
Yeah, he did. He really did. All right, look, it's really bad, folks. I mean, it's become, I hate to say it because he's our president, but man, he's becoming a laughing stock. I mean, you and I knew this could happen. I honestly, I thought his approval rating could go down. I didn't have a clue it'd get down to 36%. That you're really scraping the barrel there.
And even when he went to Scotland for the global warming thing.
Yeah.
Okay. If you ever notice the picture, you have all the leaders together with Biden off on the side.
I know. It's
the year before you had all the leaders together with Trump right in the middle.
Right in the middle. I know. It's just, it's an embarrassment, folks. All right, look, we've got some interesting stories to close it out today, Jeffrey. We've had some hard-hitting stuff all week, but boy, tell our audience about the breaking news that MSNBC's been banned from the Rittenhouse trial.
Guys, you might remember it was last week or maybe the end of the week before. There was a story about somebody following the bus with all the Rittenhouse jurors. Well, it turned out that person following the bus got a ticket, and they investigated it, and it was a producer from MSNBC. So the judge today banned MSNBC from coming into the courtroom. They're not even allowed in the courthouse.
As he should have. Again, we talk about just the decaying of journalism on the left. To be doing what that person did, I mean, they should be barred from ever covering any trial ever again anywhere in the country. I mean, that is sick. Because
they knew that they're, it was being seen as a racial thing, even though a white kid shot white people.
Right. No. This is the far left is heavily invested in this. They're out there. Look, Biden even, what a dumbass. I mean, he even called the kid a white supremacist. Biden, he's clueless. But he's got these ultra liberals, uber liberals in the White House surrounding him, and he's basically it's like a dog trained to do whatever they have to say. All right, so good that MSNBC is banned. Now, I got to tell you, this Lauren Boebert, Congresswoman from Colorado, she's a rock star. Jeffrey, why don't you share with our audience what young Miss Boebert, the takedown that she did on the illustrious Ilhan Omar?
Oh, man. Omar likes to blame everything on, misogyny, racism, Islamophobia. And she did it on the House floor because one congressman made a stupid video.
Right.
that wasn't real. You couldn't, it was anime. Okay. You know, the guys with the big eyes.
Yeah.
My kids watch anime.
Yeah.
That showed AOC being attacked. And Lauren Boebert, who will take nothing from anybody.
No, she won't.
You know, she went up and said, okay, you want to talk? You had a congressman who's on the House, I think, Foreign Relations Committee that slept with a Chinese spy.
Yep.
You had
Eric Swalwell, just to be named, even though you can't mention their name. She's referring to Swalwell.
Well, no, I actually call them Fang Fang and Fart Fart.
Yes, sleeping with Fang
because that's what he did on the television.
Right. Yep.
And she went through all these things that Democrats have done like that, and nothing. You know.
Oh, but she did more. She pounded Omar. She goes, and oh, by the way, this, you know, she basically, you don't say the person's name because, you know, that's sort of house decorum. She goes, and we have a representative here from the state of Minnesota who married her brother, allegedly, who took $1 million of campaign contributions and paid her husband. You know.
Yeah, she said her husband, not the one that was her brother.
Right, the husband, not the one.
And then she called him her from the Jihad Caucus.
From the Jihad Caucus, that's exactly right. She takes nothing off anyone. I mean, look, she is a superstar. And, you know, she basically took down Omar. Omar came back with some ridiculous tweet, and Boebert shot her down again. Anyhow, some good humor to close out.
She made a ridiculous tweet, and I know someone who tweeted her back.
And that someone was?
Nasty. I said, you know, you can't talk about people being prejudiced without realizing that you hate Jews.
Right. She's a clear anti-Semite. Part of that whole Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar caucus, they're all anti-Jewish. Well, you know, again, we're closing it out here. It was pretty funny, though. I mean, Boebert just ripped her a new one. And to close out the week, again, seeing MSNBC banned from a courthouse and Boebert ripping Ilhan Omar. I mean, it is closing out on a little bit of humor. All right, Jeffrey, 30 seconds left. The Rittenhouse verdict's probably going to come pretty soon. I'm not going to ask you to predict it. That's not fair. It's a trial. We'll let the jury decide that. But
I think it's been proven it was self-defense.
Yeah, I concur with you. I think. And
the stupid prosecutor proved it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not an attorney.
Yeah.
I disappointed my parents. You know, I went into advertising, but he did everything wrong.
Yeah. It looks to me, from what I've seen, I'm not there every day, it looks like self-defense. We'll see what the jury comes back with.
His own witness said, you know, I didn't point my gun. I pointed my gun. He didn't shoot me until I pointed my gun at him.
Yeah, again, we'll see how the jury comes out. But boy, I got to tell you what, the governor of Wisconsin, he's got the National Guard, he's got the police mobilized. Obviously, if they anticipate a not guilty verdict, you know, we don't want to predict what's going to happen. So we'll leave it at that. But I will predict this is going to happen. You're going to see more screw-ups by the Biden administration. The House will probably pass this bill sometime late tonight or possibly late Friday night. And then it's going to go to the Senate, where nothing will happen for it unless Manchin agrees to something. So we'll keep an eye on it, folks, over the weekend. Jeffrey, great seeing you again on the show today. Great insight.
One thing, folks, write your congressman, call your congressmen, your senators. Be polite, because they won't listen to you if you get nasty. But you got to let them know how you feel.
Yep, 100%. All right, folks, we'll keep an eye on the news over the weekend so you don't have to. Enjoy it, stay safe, and we'll be back with you on Monday. Thanks for viewing this week, and thanks for listening on our podcast. See you Monday.